Before I start the video, I just want you to look up the etymology of the word decide. Decidere, which means to cut. So you want to cut out all other options that don't serve your mission. Hey there guys, how's it going? My name is Sumit Chatterjee from the Flow Zone Academy, and I'm a flow state coach, which means that I help you feel better and perform better. First of all, I want to thank all of you for the 100 subscribers. I really appreciate you guys and the little comments that you leave me and the little suggestions for videos that you give me in my Instagram DMs and on Facebook. I really appreciate them. Today I'm going to be answering a question about decision and deciding faster, or to be able to actually think over the question. So here, I'm just going to pull up the question here. A characteristic that I've seen in leader of men type of personalities is that they don't look back once they make a decision. Don't ever look back. I'm unable to do that. Once I make a decision, and unless it's the perfect decision, I always think again about my decision and sometimes even go back on my decision. What's healthier? What's healthier? It's a good question. So I would say that first of all, I've noticed in my own life that kind of personality trait as well. And I've noticed a lot of successful people make very fast decisions. However, also notice that they're regulating their mood to make better decisions, right? They're making decisions from a very calm and logical space. And so if you make decisions when you're angry, are you really going to be making a really great decision in that moment? It might be impulsive. It might be very radical. It might be not very well thought out, but acting on instinct. And it might not be the best way to make a decision, right? And so the Stoics actually believe that we have to pause before making really important decisions. And I think it's important to have that little delay time of pause, right? Calculating decision. I think that it's okay to speed up a little and take some risks in life, especially if you're young. And when you make that big decision, make it the right one and then never look back, right? Because if you make it the correct decision and you don't have to look back, if you think that there's something wrong with you, or there's a belief that something is wrong in the decisions that I make, or I'm not the kind of decision-making type of person, or all of these stories, they're going to dilute your decision-making even more and make you micromanage, right? You're going to be like, oh man, did I do this right? Did I do this in the right way? Maybe I could have tweaked it a little bit differently. You don't want to do that as that decision is being made, right? You've made the decision, you've committed 100%. Like Tyler Durden says, you can't be half a gangster, right? It's like it's like trying to be half pregnant, right? You just can't do it. And once you fully commit, you will slowly start to understand that commitment will take you further, because what that commitment is showing to the universe is, like you said, you explained it, like simplicity and a firmness in your decision. Yes, but also it's showing the world that you're congruent, that you're the type of person. My bad, I have every time it's 444, I have an alarm going off, which is that was then, now is now. That was then, now is now. So it's a perfect time to bring this up in this video. But yeah, man, looking back on the past, on the Akashic records or whatever, this library of information where you can pull things from and learn things from, that's great. It's important to study the nature of ourselves. And it helps to recognize why we always do what we do. And it's important not to look so much in the past or keep our mind there for too long, because it can get easily trapped in the past, right? What we think is the past, we automatically associate as our truth. So actually, I give this exercise to a lot of my clients to be able to be grateful for what you want in the future already, right? So it's like, that's claiming the fact that it's already happened and that it's the past, and your subconscious mind just accepts it as true. You would say, like, I'm so happy and grateful that I have a big, beautiful home, for instance. And I remember the time where I bought that home, and I saved up all my money, and it just felt so great to be able to have a location near the beach, whatever. I'm just speaking, in my own way. You might have your own wish in terms of how you want your home, right? But specifically, like, that kind of gratitude, right, that speaks so differently to your subconscious, right? Because when we think of the past, we accept it as true. So, it's also important to understand this kind of debating nature versus a decisive nature, Okay, this debating nature, this hesitant nature of like, will I do it, will I not do it, it'll make your mind split, right? It's important for you to recognize that, understand that both of the decisions you're making, it's not this or that, but both of them are coming from a certain frequency. So once you can understand that, okay, sushi or pizza, why not both? Why not combine your approaches as well, right? Try and come from a third angle that is different from all the other angles. Perspective is a really great way to be able to make decisions, because if you can see it from all different angles, if you can see it like an eagle, if you can see it like a mole from underground, if you can see it like from the water, like a whale, right? If you can see it from all these different locations and different parts of nature, and then make the decision, it's just gonna be like, yeah, it works with water, it works with fire, it works with... Dependence on something external to take the lead from you is not alpha, right? So something that is going to take you outside of you and your own core confidence is not going to help you become a leader. And that's why leaders, they lead from within, right? They don't let others lead them, right? Their internal leading mechanism, or that penetrative nature and the ability to go forward into the world, is coming from within. And so once you can understand that aspect of it, that'll help you push into the decisiveness a little bit more too. So all elements in nature, they follow the most logical path. Okay, I got this from one of my mentors, Vince Kelvin, right? He said that, water does not go back up the mountain. Run water down the hill and just let it be there, and just let it go into the crevices and like keep going forward, right? Keep moving forward, and fire will follow what it will burn next. It doesn't stop all of a sudden. It just, what it can burn next, it will keep burning, right? And if a rock falls, it'll follow its own weight and its own momentum. It's not unlogical, right? These elements, they're very, very logical. There's a different kind of intelligence, a visualization, and imagination, and intuition, which is a lot more feminine, receptive intelligence, which is also equally important to have. What you want to do is come from that hemisphere synchronization, right? So this is from my own flow state perspective. So make a decision, stick with your decision, and if that decision is wrong, you can always tweak it, you can always change the decision around, right? It doesn't mean like once you've done it, there's never going back. It's not all or nothing. First of all, I want you to remove this all or nothing type of thinking from your mind. We understand very logically, success is the only option. I must do it. And if that is your values, if that's your core values, that's going to be great. It's going to be pushing you forward, and you're going to be committing 100%. However, let's say there's a certain decision where you need to go back and revise it. That's okay too, right? Because as you're doing that, you're strengthening your values that success is the only option. So revision is actually a part of success. You see what I'm saying? Making it even better, tweaking it, refining it, that's a part of the process of making decisions, right? It's not separate from it. Let's say that you're about to like talk to a very famous person, right? And you feel this hesitancy. Just say something, say anything. Excuse me, sir, it's very nice to meet you. I feel a bit, and express what is coming up internally, right? Don't hide behind it. It makes me a little bit nervous and intimidated to talk to you, I'll be honest, but it's very nice to meet you. And then you find the awkwardness coming in, right? It's like the, that thing. So what you want to do is cut the fat from the language, right? That's like the fat. It's like the, I guess, I don't know, wait, maybe, sort of, I guess, I might, perhaps, quite possibly, right? These are non-answers, and so it creates much more fat to the language. If you can be decisive, you'll notice you'll just be like a person who is decisive, they'll speak to you like, I'm feeling pretty upset tonight. That's it. They're just expressing it, suspending their judgment of what it is, just expressing what it is, right? But a person who's debating in their mind and making a decision, they're going to be like, oh, I feel really upset tonight, and it's because of this person and that person, and why didn't the bouncer give me the right amount of time to get into the club? I'm so annoyed, and my friend, and he did this thing, and I can't believe that these people let me in so late, and it wasn't very nice, and I can't believe like my parents didn't let me go out tonight, and blah blah blah. It's like on and on and on. So you can get stuck in that. But if you can think of the path of least resistance, the quickest path of least resistance, right? Then you can actually use that momentum and that energy to move forward. Because you want to notice, like, where are you building momentum? Because people can build momentum in the negative too, and that's where they get into a downward spiral. In order for you to be more decisive, start making small decisions and doubling down on them, stacking them. One example could be you have to choose food at a restaurant. Do you usually take an hour or something to decide what you want to eat? Or are you like, what am I feeling today? Oh yeah, I want crab legs, dude. Yeah, boom, immediately. And if you don't like it, what do? You handle it. What are you going to do about it, right? It's the doing energy. So it's like the success is the activity, right? The doing energy. And so you're like, that's coming from the solar plexus, right? That kind of, going forward, I act on things. Hey, these crab legs aren't as good as last time. You talk to the waiter, we bring in the manager, excuse me. So I don't mean this in any harmful way. I love eating here. And so I'm kind of concerned about the crab legs. I usually really enjoy them, but today they aren't really as crispy. Could you possibly make them a little bit more crispy? I'd really appreciate that. So the decision, you already made the decision to get your crab legs, but your crab legs aren't what you wanted. And so you can either sit there and eat these non-crispy crab legs and you're kind of like, man, this isn't cooked properly. I'm not enjoying this, man. Oh, man. And you're complaining about it, right? You're complaining about it to everyone and nothing is getting handled. Well, the person who's a leader or decision maker, they're like, excuse me, waiter. Yeah, these crab legs, they aren't to my liking. Right? So they're taking action on it, whereas one is like debating whether they should say something, maybe they don't want to offend them, blah, 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 all this kind of stuff, right? Whereas one is just like, boom, right into it, let's solve it. A lot of men have this kind of firefighter mentality, which isn't really good when you're getting into arguments with people either. So you want to kind of counterbalance this wherever different scenario that you're in, right? Let's say you're having a conversation with a woman and she wants to vent, and you just want to solve the problem, right? You want to get to the bottom of it. But how come you were there with your friends, and how come that happened, and why don't you get there on time, and what's going on here, right? You want to use your logic to try to control the emotions. However, it's better to just suspend that logic for a second and just see it, and just hold space so that she can vent what's going on, right? So that you can come in later and interpret the situation and then handle it using your firefighter mentality. Another thing that you can practice doing is, like, let's say you're about to watch something. Let's say you're about to watch Netflix. How long do you decide before choosing a new show? How long do you decide before making a new Instagram post? I would start giving a timer, right? Just set a timer for like 2 minutes. Boom. That sounds ridiculous, but it's going to actually push you towards deciding. So when that buzzer buzzes, just choose it. Choose the first thing that's there. No other choice. That's it. I understand sometimes we can get into a bit of a perfectionism, right? A lot of perfectionists, they're incubators, right? So at the last minute, they get some kind of urgency to actually do the thing. Whereas earlier, they haven't been giving themselves that urgency, right? Again, it's dependent on the outside. Do you notice that? Procrastinators, they're depending on the urgency from the outside world. It's like, please give me some accountability. Please do this for me. So still, I mean, when we're growing up in school and these things, we're taught to follow the right way and do it exactly this way. And we're bad if we don't do it that way. And, put your hand down, Jimmy. Now is not the time to talk, kind of thing, right? You'll start to notice as you start making more decisions, little decisions, and stacking them up, and then starting to notice there are moments where you make a decision and then your mind will come in like, I wonder if that was the right decision, right? And willing to drop that and let it go. So there's this thing where we say empty the cup completely when you're about to learn from someone. At the same time, you're not starting from scratch, you're starting from experience, right? So it's a paradox. When you're learning from someone else, it's better to empty the cup completely. If you're combining it with your old knowledge in that moment, guess what? You're not fully listening. You're in your old story still. So as you're being receptive, a teacher is teaching you. You are just receiving. You're not saying, yeah, but, I know, but, consume. Later on, if there's a process of consolidation, right? So the flow cycle, I'm sure I've showed you, right? There's a process of the recovery phase. In the recovery phase, once you've gone through making a decision of the flow state, then you decide, okay, maybe I could have done this differently and this differently, and I can improve that the next time. That's completely fine. But if you're stuck in recovery phase and you don't want to get back into the hard work again, And the work ethic, again, that's going to be problematic too. We want to learn from our memories and past, but we also want to plan for the future, but we want to live in the now. And I explained this in my new book as well, TPM. You can actually practice that, what I said of letting it go, like dropping everything completely. You want to be mechanically fluid, right? Instinct and control. Productive, meaning next. Admit and resolve whatever it takes. Everything happens for a reason, right? It's about being self-driven, being very warm, smiling, letting it go. Letting go of grudges, which is not always easy. Like, as a Scorpio, I struggle with that still. It's just not my night. Boom, right? That's one. Second one is the debater, right? Again, it's like, it's not my night. This always happens to me. Only I felt differently. Why does this always have to happen to me, man? That mentality has to be let go of. And the more you identify with being an action taker and a decision maker, the more you identify with being the type of person who keeps going, pushing forward, no holds barred, just keep moving, no matter what, it'll build your character actually. It'll make you much more resilient and persevere. Yes, at some point, it's good to make right decisions, not risky decisions. Sometimes when we're younger, we make risky decisions, but we learn a shit ton from that. Yeah, I think I'm going to leave this video here. I'll get much more in depth if you want to ask me any more questions about this. Have an amazing day. May the flow be with you, and stay legend.